All right. So again, we're going to do about 3 different segments of this. The first part is just a very simple ball technique. And again, really, I think in some ways the ball technique can be done just about anywhere. It could be done in an office space, depending on your office space, of course. It could be done really in about 5 minutes to get it done. Do it at your kitchen, do it, before dinner, after dinner, while you're brushing your teeth, whatever you can do. Just put it or get several balls. They're not that expensive overall. And OPTP is another brand that sells a very similar ball to this ball. If you don't have access, or you've lost, or you want a bazillion of these, they're a little bit smaller. I don't think they have the same exact tension, but they're very similar to these balls here. So let's put the ball down on the ground. We'll get ready to go. Remember, your job is to notice what you notice. Don't worry about too much about what is going on. Just be present. That's a very key word, being present, is notice what you notice, feel what you feel. Don't deny it. Don't try to look into it. Don't try to make it more than it is. Just be present with it. It's all good. So feet down, look at those toes, and then bring your head up nice and tall. Close your eyes as it's comfortable. Remember, part of the key of this movement practice is this stillness over our feet, is being confident and prepared and stable and settled, just standing here. So take several nice long deep breaths. Just feel the rib cage expand. The belly doesn't have to overly expand. You might want to notice if you feel your rib cage in the back expand at all too, because that's a sign also that maybe you're not fully taking a deep breath. You're just kind of breathing. So make sure you can feel your back at least somewhat kind of expand. And again, take your focus right down into those feet. Just kind of notice what you notice at first. I notice first my glutes are kind of contracted, my thighs are kind of contracted. So I want to kind of just see if I can intentionally relax those. And yes, I do this with all levels of people that I work with. I don't just do it with you guys. I actually take high schoolers, middle schoolers, adults, everybody through this same process, just kind of closing your eyes. And just notice where your weight is in your feet, if it's to the front or to the back. Do you feel twisted? Do you feel rolled in? And it's not how much, it's just that you are. Do you feel more your weight on your right side than your left? More your weight on your left side than your right? Like right now, my right leg feels pretty straight. My left knee kind of feels bent. And it probably is. I'm not looking at it, so I don't know. All right, after you get a good kind of an idea of where you are in space, just open your eyes. Remember, making that cognitive understanding. So being present within acknowledging how your body is feeling is super important to move forward and how your body is actually getting better. So then take the ball. We'll start with the right foot. You can start with your left foot if you want. Take the ball right underneath the center of the foot, and we'll do the standard, just rocking back and forth. Now remember, this is about tolerable pressure, not just pressure in and of itself. And the part of the reason why we rock back and forth is to get that calming, swaying pattern, as well as crossing over the midline and just feeling that gentle movement, that gentle sway, which calms our nervous system down through our vagus nerve. Go ahead and pause. Take your arms up. Take your arms down. Roll yourself forward and then roll yourself back up. Pretty simple. Take the ball to the ball mount of the foot. You're just going to kind of find about the center of the ball mount of your foot, not on one particular ball, on one particular knuckle, just right in the center of the ball mount. And do several presses down, like you're pushing down the pedal of something. Your heel is still on the ground, and you're just kind of creating that arcing over or underneath, creating that your foot is kind of going around the ball of your feet. One more time, press down. And then just move that ball back and forth. So we're getting a little shear here, back and forth. And you can go as quickly as is comfortable for you or as slow as you need to go, whichever works better. And we're just getting that nice little shear. And we're going 2 directions. We're going to the right and to the left. If you want to just go only to the left and just pull in one direction, that's totally fine as well. Go ahead and pause. Move the ball back to position point 5. So now we just did 3 positions. Remember, position point 5 is where the arch meets the heel, not on the heel itself. And again, we're just going to press down. almost like you're just pushing down or pumping something up with your foot. Up and down. And then pause. And then again, that shearing right there, right across where the arch meets the heel. It's a real nice textural feel. Now, if you are out and about and you don't have any particular ball and you do have a tennis ball works great. You just have to be careful of how much pressure you put in if you use a different style of ball, because each ball is going to have its own tension. Go ahead and pause. And then we're just going to do friction. So take that ball and just move it around, inner, outer foot, turn the toe in, turn the toe out, whatever is good for you. Over and across the ball of the foot, underneath the toes a little bit, and then pause. And that's it on that side. Let's do the other side. Pretty quick. Even though I'm talking through it, if you did it by yourself, it might even be a little bit quicker. Now, remember, always one side of the body may feel different than the other side of the body. Don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. Just notice it. And they may need less pressure on one side than the other. Pause. This time, take your arms up. Take your arms down. And then rotate around your torso. Let the knees bend. And then pause in the center. Let's go to that ball mount of the foot. Move the ball to the top part of the foot. And again, just pressing down. Again, always be aware of that tolerable pressure. I tend to have more tenderness on my left side, have more nerve situations needs to go down my left side than my right. Years ago, I pulled my hamstring muscle pretty bad. And then slowly over time, I've had more difficulties with some kind of fluid return on this side. I do a lot of work on this side, but I also still do a lot of work on my right side as well. So I'm not overdoing it. But I do have to be careful of my left side sometimes. And I don't mean careful like I gently hold it. I just mean careful like I have to be aware of it. Go ahead and pause. And then again, do that side to side. Or again, you can do pull in one direction. Again, I'm doing side to side right here. Just feels kind of good. You can, if I move too far forward, you'll be able to see, but I'm on my wood floor, or you can be on your mat, you choose. Or on carpet, just gets kind of clogged up, I feel it. Good. Go ahead and pause. Bring the ball back to position 0.5 where the arch meets the heel. Your toe comes up and down, and you're just your toe stays down and your heel presses back this time. And you're just kind of pulsing into that spot. Good. And then pause. And again, just go side to side. So this is a simple variation without all the different points, which is completely fine to do, and we do it all the time. It's just giving yourself some options of different ways to approach the same type of tool. So it gives you different opportunities and different possibilities of different uses. Good. Go ahead and pause, and let's just go to friction. Go right into moving that ball all the way around. Remember, friction is really a lymphatic thing. So it's kind of moving across lightly, vigorously though, across the entire bottom of the foot as much as you can to kind of wake up the foot. That's why it's such a good thing to do in the morning before you exercise, as opposed to just after you exercise or anything like that. Go back to the first foot and move that first foot around as much as you can. Since we spent just a tiny bit of extra time there. And then let's go back to the second foot for the last little, if I can keep that ball under control. And just kind of go back and forth underneath that second foot. Good. Toss that ball out of the way. Put those feet back to the ground. Notice what you notice. See what you see. See if there's just even the feet just feel a little bit more even. Close your eyes, standing nice and tall. Does it feel simpler just to stand there? And remember, it feels good to feel good. If things are simple, let them be simple. Not everything has to be complicated. Not everything has to be perfect either. You just notice a difference, notice a change. My legs feel more extended. My right leg still feels a little bit more straight than my left leg does. Don't exactly know why. Don't necessarily need to care. Just need to notice it. But my legs don't feel turned in or turned out or anything. Lifting up all 10 toes. I feel more stable, more balanced, just right in the center of my foot. And then exhale, drop. And notice where my body wants to sway to. Off to my right side, off to my left side, or pretty much settled. Good. Go ahead and open your eyes. I hope that small little bit kind of helped you move from one thing to the next pretty quickly without a lot of fuss or thinking about it. So let's move to the ground and let's just come onto the ground seated. So you're going to have your feet out in front of you. And the most curious part about this next thing we're going to do is that you kind of move around a little bit. And it's just because your hips are shifting slightly. And you're just going to drop your knees right and left. If you notice, I'm kind of on my heels. I'm not really on the bottoms of my feet because I can't roll very well that way. But I'm letting my heels do get some movement in, kind of lifting them up, lowering them, rolling them. You can move them a little bit as you'd like. And I'm kind of holding myself in place so I don't scoot forward too much. And this just gets that joint moving. And again, it's just a real simple way to move the hips, to engage with the lower back, to not have too much action going on, but getting something done nonetheless. Just keep going. 2 more or 3 more. And last one. So you're going to I'm going to have my left foot forward and I'm going to bring my right leg back. I'm going to sit up nice and tall first. And then without dropping my head first, I'm going to hinge forward. I hold my ankle. Actually, if I can keep my foot from sinking in, but I can keep it more level, I'm going to fold forward. This is going to create that elongation in the hip. Remember, when we're working those hips, we're working for length and some space. So we want to try to find less flexion and more extension. Good. And just kind of hold. Elbow can be in. My elbows are slightly out for a second there. Either way works. Whatever's most calm. Good. And then from here, make sure you're still in this 90-90. You're just going to drop over. And I got my long front leg here. And then I'm going to bring my same arm as my back leg to the ground. So this is just a nice stretch. The first one, stretch, windshield wipers. Then we have static hold to the front, static hold to the side. And I'm going to give you a little addition, which kind of is a little bonus here. I'm going to come up and I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to reach it through a thoracic rotation. Up and reach through. Use the entire breath. Inhale, open the entire way. Exhale, look through, and exhale the entire way. Don't come back out until you get the entire breath. Look, and then open one more time. Exhale through. And then come up. Open. Now, I'm going to slightly change positions just because when my legs are still in this kind of Z position or fan position, I'm going to drop back onto both my elbows. So my knees are still in that fan. I'm going to try to drop my right knee down towards the ground. This is similar to kind of an old-fashioned, kind of like a hurdler stretch, where you're going to get some stretch in this quad right here. And the ankle of that foot, super important for knee and hip movement, is movement in that ankle. And then I'm going to roll back, bring both legs in, and let's just go to the other side. So again, I've got my left leg back now. My right leg is forward. I'm going to sit up nice and tall, and I'm going to hinge forward. Now, typically, we have one side of our body that likes to cooperate more than the other. It kind of gives us more movement. And sometimes we kind of lean into that more than maybe we should. And we kind of go, oh, well, if I've got more movement, I should take more movement. Instead of, if I've got more movement, what am I missing on the other side? Or maybe can I make this a little more challenging? Can I pull my belly in more and then really engage something else to kind of say, okay, if I've got this so great, where can I go deeper someplace else than the area that I'm really great? And always the question is, well, what if this doesn't hurt or I don't feel the stretch? That's okay. You want to get into positions that your body is comfortable in and stay there and kind of see if you can sink deeper by pulling the shoulders back, doing something different. It makes the movement not necessarily more challenging, just more connected. Come up, and then let's turn towards that front leg. our front thigh, and then drop in the elbow. Remember, we're starting with a static hold first, then we're going to go to the thoracic rotation to get some dynamic movement out of this. And you can see the rotation of my back. I can feel this on the underside of my thigh and my hip. I'm not just letting my head drop. I'm keeping my head level, which is helping to work with my extensors of my spine. Breathing, working that rotation. Good. And then I'm going to come up. I'm going to take my left arm through. Exhale, fully exhale it. Don't miss the last even a little bit of the exhale. Look up and then reach up. And then look down and reach through. And look up and reach up. And look down and reach through. One more time, reach up. And reach through. And bring yourself up. And let's come all the way around on our back. Good. And then, oh, I forgot. Oops. What am I thinking? And then, so we've got our right leg here. We're just going to take ourselves back and then work that quad back there. Now, you don't have to go all the way deep down onto the ground. You want to make sure you go. So see how high my left leg is? If I want to keep this leg down, I have to stay up a little bit higher. On the other side, for whatever reason, I could go deeper. I could go deeper, but my knee is going to come higher, and I want the stretch in my quadricep. So I'm going to stay my torso high in comparison to my left leg, where on the other side I was able to go deeper. All right. Inhale and bring that back leg forward. Let's come up and let's go on our back. Laying all the way back onto your back. Let your back drop. And let's start with our feet. Lift the toes, lift the heels, lift the toes, lift the heels. Just a simple, easy motion. And then rock the pelvis, drop the tailbone. Little tuck, little tilt. If my lower back gets tight at all, I do this motion. And then again, now take your hands underneath your head and then round and just a little bit of a curl, not a crunch, and lower back and open up. Bring your elbows in and curl up. Hold. Try not to push your forehead too far forward. I'm keeping my elbows open just mostly so you can see. And then back. If you want to have your elbows totally closed, just doesn't make for good video. And then lower back. And then lower. Bring up and lower back. And then one more time, up and back. Let's drop the knees, left and right and left. Once again, kind of a windshield wiper action. And it just kind of gives those hips. Remember, the more mobile the hips can be, the less mobile and the less mobile the lower back has to be. When the lower back is mobile, the lower back tends to be in more pain. When the lower back is somewhere between stable and mobile, that's the better way for that. All right, let's grab the roller. Go ahead and grab your roller and you're going to place it underneath your calves. Now, I do like sitting up for calf work, but we're going to lay down for calf work today. We're going to do our final assessment standing back up again. So we've already done a basic assessment. So make sure that calves lay down by the base between your ankles and kind of where your gastrocnemius is. Remember, the soleus muscle is a super important muscle. It's springiness on that soleus muscle. And most people over the age of 30, maybe 40, lose that springiness in their legs. And even if they do run, even if they do run, they tend to gravitate towards almost like a shuffling motion more than a bouncing motion or a knees up where you're kind of pedaling in your motion. It's because we can't take the pressure onto our legs. And so, which is fine. It's just, do you want to lose that? Are you walking a lot and your feet hurt a lot? Maybe you've just lost some motion in in the soleus muscle, the muscle underneath the gastrocnemius. Now I'm just circling my knees around. I just started with the basic bend and straighten. Now I'm circling my knees around and I can go a little slower and feel those bumps in there. And remember, some of those bumps are dehydration. Some of those bumps are other pressure points. Now I'm rocking my knees in and out, kind of rolling on top of the muscle. Make sure you're keeping your feet relaxed. Don't let your feet get tight. Really, you won't feel this at all then. And then pause and then do that gentle push pull. Good. Go ahead and pause and just let your legs sit there. Roll just the ankles. You're going both into out circles. And then roll just the ankles into in circles. And sometimes you can feel one ankle even has more internal movement or external movement than the other, just on that simple movement. And that's all we're going to do for our calves right now. We're going to go right up onto the back of our legs. I think I probably told you this multiple times, but this is really probably one of my favorite movements. It's super simple, next to knees rocking. It really calms the body. In and out, kind of like a snow angel, just on your back, just on the lower half. And make sure that your hips are steady and level to the ground. Now, again, I do this sitting up a lot. And I don't do it in front of people. I just lay down and start doing this in front of like a class or something. But I do sit down, and if we're going to do it, I tend to do it sitting up because I can see everybody doing it also. And I can talk a lot easier. But when you're just laying down casually in your own home, do it laying down. It feels so nice. Go ahead and pause and just do one leg. Now, again, just by doing one leg, you are focusing a little bit more in one particular area. And you can kind of heel, toe, or even just swing it side to side and then pause. And then let's pick up the second leg and do the second leg. And remember, really what you're doing is, a couple of things. One, you're applying pressure to that sciatic nerve line that goes behind the knee, becomes the popliteal nerve. It goes into the ankle and the tibialis nerve. And you're going through all these nerve lines. And really what you're doing is you're telling the body you're okay, you're feeling good, because you're pulling, just like a stretching, just even rubbing your hands moves the tissue around. And every nerve has a coordinating blood vessel and a coordinating lymph vessel. And so you're moving all of this tissue around. Go ahead and pause. And exhale. All right. The next one is one of my favorites, but not everybody else's favorites. So bring your knees in and you're going to shift your weight to your left. So my weight is on my left hip. I press myself up and I'm really above my knee on my left side. So the roller's above my knee, not on my knee joint. And then I'm just going to lift myself up. Now, if it's difficult to keep yourself up, you have your other leg to hold you there. And it can be in front or behind, whatever's more convenient. And I'm just going side by side. I can also put the toe of my left foot on the ground if I need more stability. So again, my weight is just above my knee. I'm on my shoulder. Yep, that's a little bit of work there. And just back and forth, just above my knee. I'm going to pause and I'm just going to roll forward and roll back for a simple shear. This really relaxes my knees. So I'm having knee tension. So this is like the IT band. And then pause. Drop in. I'm going to flip to the other side. You're just going to roll over. Again, you want to start with the roller above the knee. Drop into your right elbow or forearm. So my knee is below the level of the roller. And then I lift my hips up and I can take my left foot in front. The roller is just above on the outside of my knee. And this is a small motion. So kind of older roller work, heavier roller work, and a lot of people still like it because they like the pain, but they don't think it's working enough if it doesn't have enough pain, is to do the whole side of the leg. Well, kind of the newer, more modern, I guess you'd say, or melt method of rolling is to, you just got to roll at the end ranges. You don't have to roll the entire thing because this is a tight band, mostly fascial tissue, which doesn't really stretch. And so if you just try to stretch it, it's just going to stay tighter. Two, and then two more, and then pause. And then again, roll and roll back. So knee problems can become hip problems, vice versa. Ankle problems can be knee problems. And then pause, drop the right hip down, and then let's sit on the roller. So really the best way, I think, to get the majority of the hip work done on the roller, I'm just going to move the roller back just a little bit into the side, is to do this seated hip work on the roller. So you want to sit so your sit bones are on that roller, and you're just going to roll back and forth. Nice and simple. Now you could just do this because there's nerves underneath here and a lot of fascial, but also attachments for muscles underneath those hips, your hamstrings, the internal movers of the hip, the deep muscles of the pelvic floor. One or two more. Then we're just going to go a little bit deeper. So I'm going to take my right hand and my left hand down, slightly wider than my shoulders. And again, I'm back and forth. I'm on my sacrum more. Pelvis is slightly tucked. Watch that you're not slumping into your shoulders. Keep your chest nice and tall. And I'm really just on that coccyx, the sacrum, the coccyx, so that I'm not getting above my pelvis. Then I'm just going to tip my weight to my right. So I'm mostly on my right hip and my SI joints, just like when we do SI shear, just my knees. All I did was shift them to my right. And then come up, and all I'm doing is shifting them to my left. Same movement, back and forth, small. Remember, these areas are pretty small, so if we go too global, if we go too big, we're just going to like overdo it. And then back to the center, and then I'm going to drop my right arm, and that just puts me lower on my thigh. So I'm more on my glute med, which is the outer part of my hip. And then, so I'm just going to go back and forth. So I'm just off my sacrum. And it might feel a little bit tighter there. And then I'm going to pause, and I'm going to open and close one knee. So doing that clamp, almost like when we do, again, SI joint shear to the right or to the left. And the idea of this is not just the muscles, but that we're getting hydration to the tissue that kind of connects to the joint. So we get hydration into the joints. I'm going to pause. I'm going to rock off. Now, for you, just tip to the other side. I'm going to just have to take the roller to the other side. So again, we're still on our left side, coming from our right. We were up, we were down. Now our left arm is down on this side. And we're just back and forth. Keep your chest open so you're not collapsed into your shoulder. Body's pretty tall. You might feel some tenderness, some pinching up in there, either one. Pause, and then you're going to just open and close that bottom knee. And then pause. Let's take the weight all the way to the ground. And then, of course, you never can forget doing the upper back. Take that roller up there, swing those arms around, head is behind. Now remember, you're not taking the head below the roller. Tuck that pelvis, drop the ribs, lay over the roller. Just feel where you can go to. And you're getting a little stretch in your chest. You're getting some length in your upper back. And then bring your head up. Just a gentle tilt to my right. And feel that compression slightly on my right side, but the expansion on the left. Breathe into the left rib wall a little bit more. Inhale, center, and go to my left. Open my right side. And then back to center. And then let's just do that 2 inches forward, 2 inches back. Now, again, you can have your head a little bit more compressed or keep it a little bit wider. Now I'm just kind of making my way up my back. You can stay in one spot, or you can kind of move yourself a little bit. Big breaths here. And then pause somewhere on that back. I'm just moving my shirt, hands behind the head, and then rock side to side. Now I get a lot of clicking in my neck a lot of times when I do this. And I truly believe, I think, because I have my head down. And truth be told, either looking at my phone, off the ground, looking at people, not looking at people below me, but a lot of times I'm upright and people are below me just by the position people are in. Pause, take a deep breath, relax just for a second, and then check that upper back again. See if you get more movement. And back up, tilt to your right, if there's less crimping, tilt to your left, and then back to center. Let's take that roller out from underneath us. We're going to end with, now, if you want to do both, or if you want to do the other side, you're more than welcome to, but I'm going to do quarter rolls, which I think is a beautiful rotation around the upper body. Now you could do lower body, and I'll show both. Arms are up, body's like an X. Head lifts up first, key element here. If you roll over without your head coming up, it's not going to work as well. Head comes up, take your right hand across and roll over. Now I know I come out of the screen, but then there's roll back. Head up and roll. I'm really not pushing into my legs. And then roll back. Head up, reach and roll. And roll back one more time. Head up, reach and roll. And back. Let's do our lower half of our body. So we want to have that leg in, right knee comes in, roll over. My shoulders are staying down. And I'm really bringing my hips across my midline, which is bringing my right arm up. And then come back. And you can be as controlled as you need to, and then reach across. But moving this body across the X, across the midline, so valuable to the movement of the spine. Remember, we want that spine deeply hydrated. And then center, one more time. Reach over. And then center. And then pause. And then let's just set for a second. Think about what you've done. Just set for a second. Give yourself a reminder of the patience you need to give yourself, that not every thing works on the same timeline. Definitely doesn't work on the timeline we think it should. Give yourself the grace to heal, the patience to withstand, the diligence to process and just do what you know is right. Right isn't correct, or right isn't, this isn't a vulnerable right, but just the next right thing. Take a deep breath. Bring your right knee in. Rock yourself up as it's comfortable. Pause for a second. Let's bring ourselves up right again. Bring those feet level to each other. Take a little look. And then bring your head up. Let's go ahead and close your eyes and just kind of notice what you notice again. Legs might feel a little bit lighter, less heavy. Maybe it feels easier to stand on both legs. For me, my legs don't feel one so dramatically different than the other. They feel a lot more even. Lift up all 10 toes and drop your arms up and through.